Okay. We're about to start. We'll call this special call meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for the City of Natchez to order. Good to see everyone. We'll ask you to please stand for our prayer. I'm going to ask my executive assistant, Richard Burke, to give our prayer today, and then we'll follow that with our pledge.
Dear God, thank you for another day in service to your people and in service to you. We ask that you make your presence felt in this board meeting and remind everybody here that we do things in accordance with your will. Good things happen, and just bless this city and all the citizens here. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Richard. Now, join me as we recite together our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. We'll ask the clerk to administer the roll call.
Alderwoman Hall. Here. Alderman Frazier. Alderman Frazier. Alderwoman Smith. Here. Alderwoman Irving. Alderwoman Irving. Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman Dillard.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Our first item, I'm going to recognize you, Alderwoman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to make the motion that we post the police chief position in-house for a number of 5 days.
Second.
All right. The motion has been made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderman Davis. I'm going to, by the way, hand out the job description. And we are going to ask the attorney to explain just why we are doing this today.
We're doing this to meet the deadline that we have to adhere to regarding temporary appointments. And we have appointed an interim police chief. We had 90 days from her appointment to fill that position. And today is as good a day as any to get this process started. I would like in-house, does that mean current qualified officers employed by the Natchez Police Department, correct?
Correct.
Yes, and I'm looking here at qualifications, minimum of 20 years experience in law enforcement, with a minimum 3 years of administrative experience. It does say a bachelor's degree in police science, criminal justice, public administration, or appropriate related field, or a minimum of 20 years experience. I want to make sure that that is clear, that that is in the job description. Is there any discussion on this matter? Alderman Dillard?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Why is it only being posted for 5 days? Is that a statutory requirement or is that just a preference?
That was actually a recommendation of the Civil Service Commission. Hello, Alderman Frazier. Good to see you.
Right. And my second question is, with limited discussion, there's no discussion whether we should go outside the local or go to a wider search. How have we gotten here that we're already going to keep it to an in-house search?
Okay.
What discussion has had that brought that about?
Well, I'm just referring to the Alderwoman's motion. Alderwoman Smith?
Just for me, that was the discussion the whole time from everybody in here. If anybody has anything different.
I don't know. I don't recall any discussion about it, to be quite honest with you. And I'm not sure that we're going to accomplish anything other more than what we've accomplished. I mean, you're going to have the same, we only have 4 qualified officers. So you're going to have the same 3 officers again.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't seek to go outside the city of Natchez?
I feel like we have in-house. I think there was discussion on this. And I think when we appointed the interim, the major discussion was for morale, for qualifications. We have qualified people in-house, and that's where we would go. And that's what we did with the interim. So that was my motion, was related to that.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Frazier.
I just walked in. We're not discussing about the Alderman police.
A motion has been made to post police chief position in-house for 5 days.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, here's a simple thing.
Yes, Alderman.
We shouldn't even be discussing this because there was a special call meeting
It's on the
Yes.
call.
just for,
We added it this morning.
no, sir, I didn't receive it.
And a delivery was
I
attempted.
don't think that we should be discussing this right now because it was not on the special call meeting. It's a violation of the, what's your name, Open Meeting Act. And furthermore, Alderwoman, I don't think Alderwoman Irvin is here, and I don't think she know anything about it.
All right. It was added this morning, and a motion has been made. Can we verify that notice did go out properly in a
Nope.
timely
I
manner?
didn't receive it, Mr. Mayor. I was at City Hall. I was at City Hall today, and I still didn't receive it. And I don't think, like I say, it's not on the special call meeting. We shouldn't be discussing it.
Okay. It's on our agenda here. It was
I
added
didn't
this
receive it.
morning
I was at
at
City
the
Hall.
advice of the Civil Service Commission.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderman.
uh,
Alderwoman Hall, you're recognized.
yes, this notice went out in the legal 3 hours prior to this meeting.
I don't care when it went out. It wasn't, it's wrong.
All
So
right.
the question-
I'm going to recognize Alderwoman Smith. Alderwoman Smith.
Would I request that the city attorney please reiterate why it's important for us to go ahead and appoint this, put this posting out because of the interim position?
The interim position is only available for 90 days under state statute, interim appointment. And we appointed Chief Green on December 6th, and that would expire March 6th, and we're meeting that deadline.
Mr. Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, call the
Miss,
question.
we still have discussion. You can't call it.
Alderman Frazier, you're recognized.
Alderwoman, Irvin, you know anything about, we're discussing the position of interim police chief? It's on discussion now.
I was not aware of that. And you
Alderwoman.
can't discuss anything that's not on the agenda beforehand. I was not mayor. I thought today would be
It
on
was added
what
this
Mr.
morning.
Burns had
Notice was
Sir.
attempted, and we have,
Call Pam.
Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor, I do want to say this. On
Yeah.
yesterday, I made you all aware,
yeah.
and I want to apologize to my mayor and members of this board. I've been out of the county to a doctor's appointment this morning, out of the county.
Yes.
I just drove back in.
Mhm.
Okay, so I was not aware. The
Yes.
only thing that I was aware of, and my daughter just told me, you have a small envelope that was just delivered. I picked it off the table and I brought it in my bag. I have not even opened it.
Okay.
But you can't add anything to an agenda
With 3
unless
hours,
we know it.
with 3 hours
Well,
notice,
something that detrimental,
did.
Mayor, why would we want to add it without having,
Um,
other than a 5-minute discussion?
we,
Yes, that's.
we can continue this, but I think at this point,
I'd like to
we
hear from the
understand.
attorney.
Mayor,
Well,
call
we
the
had to
question.
get it from the ethics
Call the
commission. We just
And
had-
if I had known, Mr.
the
Mayor, I
question has
said,
been called. Is there a
You
second?
can't call a
The
question
second?
to
Mr.
stymie
The question has
discussion.
been second.
If you can't call a question to stymie discussion, just
Wait.
because you don't like what's being
Well,
said.
it's been called,
Well,
but
you can't do that,
Mr.
Mr.
Attorney
Chairman.
can certainly speak to.
It's 3 hours before the meeting. Is that within the rules of the state for posting notices
Yes, it
for a
is.
special call?
Yes, sir.
But everyone had to
What statute
receive
is
it.
that?
The notice was emailed out at 10 o'clock
You're
this
here.
morning. I just checked
you're here.
my
I'm here because we were told that there was a meeting that we need to attend with Mr. Carter Burns addressing
Mhm.
the historic, well,
But you-
Auburn.
Mr. Mayor,
Let's
the
just
mayor-
say it like that.
Okay.
And that's what I can't
I-
see with
I'm-
the ability.
I'm
But
gonna,
Mr. Mayor, before we
yes.
say this,
yes, Alderwoman Irving.
even if that was gonna be on the agenda today,
Yes.
I had information that to share with the board.
Mhm.
Did not think it would be a discussion, that it would be, the 28th Tuesday, when we come back to our meeting.
Yeah.
So why are we having it today when we have a
Exactly.
meeting on Tuesday?
The 20.
It's not urgent. This
The-
shouldn't even be a part
The
of.
28th, the deadline, as we understand, is March 6th. And if we wait to take action on the 28th to post
We brought that to your
post the
attention.
position, then it doesn't allow enough time for the position to be posted, resumes, application to be received, and the Civil Service Commission to review those and make a recommendation to the board. Dante Ware has made this recommendation to us, and we are following through on advice of Civil Service.
Mr. Mayor, the
Mr.
question.
Mayor,
All right,
Mr.
the
Mayor,
question's
Mr. Mayor,
been called.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman
I
Frazier,
am
one
ready
last
to talk.
comment. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
we are the government board around here for this.
Yes.
Mr. Ware only gets stuff when the government, when we get through with it. He cannot make a recommendation on what to do until we decide what we're gonna do. Therefore, civil service right now don't have anything to do until we decide to send it
All
out.
right.
This is done by the government board.
We are.
Well, now is your
But like I said-
opportunity to decide. The
No,
question
this
has
is
been called. I'm just allowing,
Okay, I'm not
but
through.
according to
I'm
our
not through.
rules, Alderman Frazier. Alderman Frazier, please conclude.
The way we are doing this now, this is totally unethical in the way we're doing this. And this seems as though this has already been, something been set up or jammed up or whatever, and this is wrong. And I like to say, I'm gonna have to go through the ethics commission. Get this. And Mr. Attorney, I think you need to look a little deeper about the way this operation is going.
Thank you.
The
question
question.
has been
called.
The question has been called. Alderwoman Irving, the question's been called. We're going to proceed to a vote. I'm trying my best to allow discussion, but do you have anything different to add to the
I
discussion
want
than
to
what's
ask, were
already
you
been
able to,
said?
I want to address this
Okay.
question to the attorney, Mr.
Okay.
Mayor. Do you have the new information that was handed down? Because I didn't know to bring that today. I had actually that
got
information
it.
from when we went to the meeting in January about the position, and we're the one brought it up. Alderman Frazier brought it up. And so if you were going to have that on the agenda today, it would have been a courtesy to
We
inform
did.
the board.
An
to
email
expect
was
that.
sent to every board member at 10 o'clock this morning. And it would be
I'm on
prudent
the
to
road
check
at
your
10, Mr.
emails
Mayor.
because they
We
can
look
be
at it
very
when we want
important. And the notice was hand delivered
But
today.
it shouldn't be that
I have
way.
now-
It should be afforded to the opportunity.
The question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. Alderwoman
So
Hall.
what's the
Aye.
motion?
The motion is approval to post police chief position in-house for 5 days. And I do want to remind everyone that in all of our discussions, it has been said that we should look within our department for promotion. This goes in hand with all of the comments that have been made in prior meetings that we should not look to the outside, we should look to the inside. And that is what we're doing. We are now voting. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier, Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
I think it should be,
Alderwoman
Vetted out.
Irving, discussion's
I said it.
over. Yes, your vote.
it has been brought to our attention that we should.
Alderwoman over,
I'm
we need a
thinking out,
vote.
I'm thinking out loud, Mayor, and I do have 2 minutes to respond.
Okay.
So, that has been brought to us from the members of the community, and that's who we work for. And so my vote is yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alderman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Nay.
All right, the motion carries. Ayes have it. Thank you so much. Also, just note the job description has been distributed. We will ask that the job be posted. I would like to, as we are having this discussion, I would like to make sure, let me just ask Ms. Callaway.
I think it would be clean.
Okay.
And do you want, if you want civil service to review these, have that part of the motion. This
Yes.
exhibit.
Alderwoman Smith, just so that everything is clean, as now that we are posting the position, we do need to request that Civil Service Commission review those applicants, that they also review the job description that has been provided today and make an appropriate recommendation to the board before our next meeting on February 28th.
Mr. Mayor, I amend my motion to include.
No, this is a new motion.
Oh, a new motion. All right, to make a motion as well to have the civil service review the candidates and what was it?
And the job
And the
description
job description, which they
and
normally do.
make their recommendation to the board by the 28th.
That's it. So
Second.
moved.
All right, motion has been made and seconded by Alderwoman Hall. We will have discussion on the motion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Frazier.
this job description that you got here,
Yes.
I just received it. And if we're gonna do a job description, look like this should have been brought before the whole board, not just now.
Right.
And,
Where is
and
it?
the job description need to be looked into more closer. And we just got it, so I'm just gonna be honest with you. Alderwoman Carter, over the police committee, but look like if she wanted to do this, she should have came to the rest of the board and notified us. If you know she was gonna do this,
It's the one we've had.
no. If you know she was gonna do this, you should have got in touch with every board member
You should have,
before
sir.
the day, before you did.
Just like you
Alderman-
did last week.
Call the question.
Alderman, the question has been,
Last week, don't bet you last week.
That's
the
right.
question
Last
has been
week, that was-
called.
You got
This is
caught in the
ugly
trap.
politics.
The
That's
question-
what this is. And
the
we're
question
saying
has
that that's the
been
reason why we have civil service. We're
Call
saying the
the
reason why we have civil service is to keep out politics.
Question.
The question,
not working.
exactly, and that's why civil service will be handling this process. We will now call for a vote. The question has been called. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier,
You know my name.
Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Nay.
Alderman Davis, Alderman Dillard.
Nay.
All right, there is a tie. I will break the tie because I would like for this process to be able to be concluded in a timely manner so that we can meet the March 6th deadline. So I vote aye, and the motion carries. Next item, we are so pleased to have with us Mr. Chris Gurris. And Mr. Gurris, it's good to see you. Mr. Chandler Russ, who is here. Mr. Gurris is a economic development consultant working with the developers of the Eola project. Chandler Russ is also here as the president CEO of Natchez Inc., working also on this project. And then online we have Mr. Peyton Prosper, who is the city's bond counsel and has been our counsel on various bonds that we have done to date during our administration. We are going to consider approving an application for a tourism rebate for the Eola project. And and I believe I have an alderperson ready to make the motion. I'll recognize that motion if you'd like to make
I
it.
make the motion, Mr. Mayor, that we proceed with this project.
Okay, the motion's been made by Alderwoman Hall. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Alderwoman Smith. So the motion is before us, and that is to approve an application for a tourism rebate for the Eola project. This will go through the Mississippi Development Authority, and I'll now introduce and recognize Mr. Russ.
Yeah, I'm not going to take
provide
up most of
some
your time,
background.
so I'm assuming that what you just approved was the resolution that we.
We made the motion,
Okay.
and we're in discussion
Okay.
now.
So yeah, it's a wonderful project. As you know, this is the redevelopment of the Eola. It's a $32 million project, 75 permanent jobs. And so part of the process here, which you'll see myself and Mr. Gross probably at least 3 more times for this project regarding both this program, but also from a TIF standpoint in the future. And this is vital to that. So it's basically kind of if you had to look at it from a snowball effect here. The company's the developer is kind of entitled to these proceeds. The investment is monitored and will be tracked by the Mississippi Development Authority in order to qualify under the guidelines. The minimum guidelines, as you know, is for a project of this magnitude is at least $15 million and $200,000 per guest room. And so they will easily qualify under this program at the $32 million threshold, as well as from the room standpoint. And so we're excited about it. It's kind of I would say the kickoff to the Eola project, and something that I know all of us are eager to see started and underway. So I can answer any questions, and or Chris can answer any questions. He is definitely the expert. I've known Mr. Gurris now going on 20. I guess we won't go that far back. 20 plus years. He's been doing both TIF deals and tourism project deals, and so we're excited to have him working with us as well. So.
And, also, Chandler, I believe we have Hayes Dent online. Is that true?
Good.
Hayes Dent
Nice.
has been leading day-to-day activities for the development team, which is the same development team that we introduced now almost 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half, in August of year before last. And that includes Mr. Rob Lubin, who is the owner of the Eola Hotel property, Mr. Randy Roth of Milwaukee, who is one of the leading developers in the country of new market tax credit developments. And also the hotel management company is Macasia Sturdivant MMI Hotel Group. I just know people are asking, and MMI manages hotels all around the country, including being the former general manager of the View Hotel during a prior ownership. Dickie Brennan is still very much involved in the project, and we are very excited about that. So it's a great day to come to this juncture because a lot of work has gone in, I know, to get us to this day. I would like now to just recognize Mr. Gurris to share his knowledge and expertise with the board.
Thank you, Mayor, and appreciate the opportunity to be here. You know well that Chandler and you called some months ago and expressed the city's support of the project and the capital stack. It's $33 million or so total project cost. And there will be a mix of programs that are brought to bear to bring this project into reality. It's anticipated there will be new market tax credits, historic tax credits, traditional bank financing, cash equity, some of which has already been invested in Mr. Lubin's acquisition of the property. And then importantly, we need a bond structure, whether it be tax increment financing, as Chandler alluded to, or an urban renewal structure. They're very similar under Mississippi law. We'll be dependent upon Mr. Prosper to help provide guidance about the appropriate kind of bonds to be able to finalize the capital stack. As Chandler described a snowball, this is a very important piece of the public participation. Under Mississippi law, 7% sales tax is collected at the point of sale at the register. The city, as you're aware, gets 18.5% of that money back. And under this program, the city agrees, knock on wood, to support the financing. And then the state matches those city dollars 3-1 under this program. That will end up, through the life of the project, we project in year one being about $258,000 a year, through year 15, about $400,000. And we're proposing that in lieu of that rebate going back to the developer, to my client, those monies would go into the bond structure to repay the bonds that ultimately the city will be asked to initiate. Chandler also said, this is the first of many times you'll see us through this process. We will, with a favorable action of the board, we will make the application on behalf of the developer. I know the city's accustomed to doing a lot of grants and loans, but this is a program where the developer is the applicant, and it does require the city's support and acknowledgement of the important component that the city's sales taxes, when the project is built, will be into the revenue stream to be able to pay the bonds back. I think it's important for the public that are watching, for the board, Mayor, to know that some similar projects of throughout the state that have used some pretty complex structures like this, the redevelopment of the King Edward Hotel in downtown Jackson, it had a legislative grant before the city actually came to own it for a period of time. It was just absolutely abandoned, and the city came to own it. There was legislative grant money to to do some of the environmental cleanup initially. This tourism rebate program was utilized, tax increment financing, the same stack of historic and new market tax credits, along with tax increment financing. Several blocks down the road, the Westin Hotel that is in downtown Jackson, there were 2 loans one from the state of Mississippi, one from the Jackson Redevelopment Authority, tourism rebate, as well as tax increment financing. Mayor, I saw you one night after the opening of the Sheraton Hotel in Flowood,
Sure did.
probably the newer, newest hotel in the metro area. That property is built on city land with a 99-year low-cost lease to my client. There's tourism rebate. There's tax increment financing. The county has an annual cash contribution into that project. And when it was completed, the city of Flowood issued bonds and bought the meeting space from my client. So my client owns the hotel, the city owns the adjoining meeting space, and my client manages it all. So these are some good examples, in the state of how these various public programs come together to support these types of projects. And we see this one being, very similar in nature to those. I'm going to take you back now almost 20 years ago, when we worked on the Bass Pro project and Trustmark Park in Pearl. There were urban renewal bonds issued by the city, loaned to my client who bought the land and built all the improvements. And those bonds were paid back by a waterfall of revenues, including tourism rebate, property taxes, Atlanta Braves lease payments, ticket surcharges, parking fees, Bass Pro rents. There was just all the revenues you could think of to make that project come out of the ground. But Peyton and I have talked about this leading up to this meeting, and this is a foundational step to be able to get a significant revenue stream, which ultimately the $4 million in money that our client's looking for to be into the capital stack, the majority of it will get paid back by the state of Mississippi's portion of the sales taxes, not the city's, which is a good thing. You're leveraging your 18.5% 3 times when the state approves this and ultimately participates in it.
Repeat that again, please.
So on a tourism rebate dollar, once this program is approved, of every dollar, I didn't say this, but of every dollar, 27% of it or so is city money, and 73% of that dollar is state money. So the city's participation leverages $3 of state money for every dollar that the city has in this tourism rebate.
It's a very strong tourism incentive, and we're very grateful to the legislature, and we're hoping that this year they will allow this great incentive to continue, because we understand that there is a sunset provision that would take place this summer, but efforts are underway for the legislature to renew it.
Correct.
Question, Mr.
We have more discussion?
I think we need more discussion. I'm going Alderwoman Irving.
Yes. I just said it would be wages for permanent jobs. So do we know the wage dollar amount? Is it going to be $15 or more for a living wage? Do we know that?
I will tell you that there will projected to be 75 jobs, both in the hotel and the restaurant overall. I can get some feedback on the wage structure. I do not have that information here. A majority of those jobs are service sector. I happen, ironically, to be in the restaurant industry. And right now we're paying in our restaurants, we're paying on the low end, $11, $12 up to $20, a pretty good range. And then we have full-time management that are, salaried.
Is it your waitress making $11 an hour?
They are, overall, they're doing better than that. They have the wait staff has a lower hourly rate, but with their tips, they do better than some of our wait staff make more money than our managers.
Thank you.
Alderman Dillard.
I think we're talking about the amount of money the city's putting in, and we'll get 3 to 1 from the state monies. Is that the $4 million that is the number that I keep hearing? Is that what the city is taking a bond? It would put that $4 million into the development in this project?
That is a great question, Mr. Dillard. And at the moment, what we've been asked to help at this early stage, and it doesn't seem early because 2 years ago, y'all were talking about this project. I'm the latest person to the dance, so it's early for me in the conversations. And because of the fact that the tourism rebate is set to expire, we're hopeful and optimistic that the legislature will extend it. But if they do not, this application needs to be submitted and processed, and it'll be a foundational piece. My clients have asked the city to deliver $4 million into the construction fund. And in order to do that, you're going to have to borrow a little bit more than $4 million because there's going to be capitalized interest, there's going to be a debt service reserve, and then there are going to be issuance cost. And at the end of the day, we're going to have a construction period of about a year. And then once it becomes operational, those sales tax dollars that are remitted by my client to the Department of Revenue will go into the grant fund. And they'll come back every January and July until 30% of the project costs are reached or 15 years passes. And we don't think there will be enough revenue to get the full 30%. So every January and July, we believe that the tax rebate will come back, and my client would be assigning that to the city or to the bond trustee to assist in repaying the bonds. So we think this is the major portion of the revenue. My office is having discussions with the county tax assessor to try to determine what the increased property taxes will be. And if necessary, the property taxes would go back into that pot as well. So we're in the process of really digging into those numbers. And we are asking the board to go ahead and take this preliminary step to get the ball rolling on this portion. Very importantly, this board is not being asked to issue bonds today. You're not being obligated to issue bonds. You're allowing my client to go forward and make this application. We are going to come back once we have information from the tax assessor's office, and we're going to meet with your bond lawyer, the administration, and your advisors and Chandler, and look and see, is there enough revenue in the pot to make this work? Is it going to be a little bit less than that? And my client may have to accept $3.8 million or $3.75 million. So this is the first step in that process. Can't answer that question.
And your client is the developer, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right. Yes. And Mr. Mayor, I do think, and we will have that opportunity to discuss these matters. But again, you've said it, and I want the recorded there that, again, this application submittal in no way obligates the city to, as you just stated, on the bonds or to enter into any of this agreement, does it?
It does not. But the one thing this process will do, once this application is approved by the MDA, I like to knock on wood, and it becomes a reality, through no further action of the board, my client can go out there and build it, place it in service, and those rebates will come back. But any further action of the board, issuing bonds or incurring any long-term debt in connection with the project, is going to be subject to many more proceedings of the city.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderwoman Irving.
Thank you. Can you explain to me again for clarity, no increase in taxes for the taxpayers? You
Sure.
said.
This is taking the ordinary taxes that my clients will pay to the Department of Revenue every month, capturing those into the rebate fund and coming back. So absolutely no tax increase whatsoever as it relates to this. And if we get to the point, when we get to the point to talking about a tax increment financing or urban renewal bond structure, those would be the generally applicable taxes that my client would owe and have to pay that would be earmarked and utilized for bond proceeds as well. Again, not requiring any increases in taxes whatsoever.
One more question.
Alderman Dillard.
The tourism rebate program, I never saw anything in here as to, is there a cap? Is there a minimum? You know, in other words, if the city puts in, can we put in $10 million and they're going to match it 3-to-1, or is there some cap to this number?
There are two distinct caps. You have to meet a minimum investment threshold just to be eligible, which is $15 million and $200,000 per key, which Mr. Russ alluded to. On our $32 million project, we're going to be eligible to receive up to 30% of that, roughly $9+ million or so. we don't think the revenues generated by the project will allow us to recover that much. So the limiting factors are 30% of the approved budget is your first limiting factor, and then the revenues. And for example, on all the hotel projects that I mentioned earlier, hotels have a very high capital expenditure with really not that great of a sales number when you look at how much they spend for the revenue side. They have lower operating costs than a lot of other businesses where they're able to make their money. The Bass Pro project, because it had 40+ million in annual sales, that rebate burned off in like 5 years. It came back rapidly. Hotel projects, I've yet to see one that on paper would recover the full amount of money that would be eligible
In that.
in that 15-year time
In the
period.
15-year time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Callaway? Yes, sir.
Just a housekeeping matter. The motion was to move this matter forward, and I think the motion for the record should be to approve the resolution in support of the Yellow redevelopment project and its participation in the Mississippi Tourism Rebate Incentive Program, just to be clear.
All right. Alderwoman Hall.
Amend my amendment to include, my motion to include that.
Okay. And let's see, Alderwoman Smith, you seconded it. That's fine. Okay. All right. We'll follow the attorney's advice on making sure the motion reads precisely as it should.
Question.
And the question's been called. All right. Second?
Second.
All right. We'll proceed to a vote. Alderwoman Hall.
Aye.
Alderman Frazier.
Nay.
Alderwoman Smith.
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving.
Aye.
Alderman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gurris.
We-
I do know everyone's asking, well, when will this take place? There is a banner up that says it will happen in 2023. I know Mr. Dent, you may be online, Hayes Dent. Is it anticipated that there will be work beginning at some point in the near future? He did. Okay, I don't know, Mr. Gurris or Chandler, if you can.
I'm sorry, I was looking up at the screen trying to
Is-
see if I could.
It's is my understanding, and I'll just speak to what has been reported to me because I know questions are being asked. It's my understanding that when this project went so high, 32 million on a hotel that will still have just an appraised value after construction of somewhere around 18 million, it became a challenge to raise those funds. But it is my understanding that they are having great success in getting their private financing together, investments, other investors in, also the new market tax credits, and also Mr. Carter Burns. Thank you so much. The Historic Natchez Foundation has been working with them on securing the historic tax credits. There are a number of other strategies that Mr. Gurris has alluded to. So it is our hope that it is coming together and that the project, that we will see some action, we would hope, in the near future. What is significant is that what has been a vacant eyesore, and some have called it a cancer at one time on our downtown, is soon to have new life, and we know that. All right.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Gurris, thank
Thank
you
you,
again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Prosper.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Dent.
And thank you, Mr. Russ, for all you do. So many
Thank
great
you.
things happening in our city. Thanks in large part to Natchez Inc. Mr. Prosper, have a good day.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item, I would like to entertain a motion first before we have discussion. And this would be a motion to allow the Historic Natchez Foundation to contract with our Restore Nation in promoting Auburn and managing Auburn for the purposes of tourism. And we just need that motion.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. We'll introduce you now, Mr. Carter Burns, to tell us, as they say, tell us all about it.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and Board. I'm here to ask for your approval for a contract between the Historic Natchez Foundation and Lane Berry Incorporated, which is owned by a married couple, Lane and Kevin Berry, who operate under the name Our Restoration Nation for their social media networks. And what we are proposing is to partner with Lane and Kevin under their entities to actually operate Auburn under our management and oversight, and to market it through their social media channels and promote it across all of their platforms, and then also to can do restoration projects there at the house. They're going to invest some of their own money into the project, not only promoting it but doing work at the property as well. Again, all under our supervision, and no changes would be made to the property without the approval of the city, the foundation, and the Department of Archives and History. But we have really thoroughly vetted them, and they've done a lot of projects. They have a great track record, so we're just very excited about this opportunity and think it's a great opportunity, and that they'll be able to have the house open quite a bit and be able to really promote things that we're doing, not only just at Auburn but across the city of Natchez to their audience.
Mr. Burns, first question, is there any cost to the city for making this transaction?
No, there's not. Any proceeds that would go to them will come out of the 75% that will go to the foundation under the agreement between the city and the foundation.
With this promotion, understanding they do have over 300,000 followers, is it anticipated that income for Auburn will increase, therefore increasing the city's income derived from its 25%?
That is the plan, to promote it, and then therefore to get more visitors to visit the city and to come to Auburn. So that is the plan.
Okay. All right. A discussion?
Yes.
Alderman Frazier?
This Restored Nation, this is something like the Property Brothers, that do restoration on the houses and stuff. Are these people something like it?
They do work on historic properties, so I guess in that sense, you could say they're similar to the Property Brothers, but they do actual restoration work. They're very knowledgeable about the proper restoration techniques, and they're restoring a house on Linton Avenue right now that they actually have for sale and have a buyer for, and so they were looking for another project in Natchez, and this is going to be a large long-term project for them, and their followers wanted a place to actually come visit them and see the projects that they're doing, and so this is going to provide a site for them to do that.
I understand. I did some research on them. They are out of Arkansas, Conway, Arkansas.
They are based out of Arkansas.
They are out of Conway, Arkansas. Also, they are in the process right now. They are doing 3 other houses in, I think, Georgia and somewhere else. That's not their full-time job, just restoration now. They have full-time job. This is just a hobby that they do.
This is their full-time job now.
No.
She has sold her other businesses, and this is their full-time job.
The internet, they both have full-time jobs and stuff. That's just as a hobby that they do. I understand. I've seen some of the work they do it. I seen Linton, where they was doing the work on Linton Avenue and everything. But they also are in with the promotion of historical preservation across American nation. That's them, right?
They do promote restoration practices across their platforms. I don't know. Is it in a specific organization you're asking about that they're part of, or
are they a part of the one that kind of like promoting the historical reservation across the nation, the ACPH promotion preservation for the enhancement of subsidized use of the national diversity historical resources that advertising for the president of the Congressional National Historical Preservation? Are they in with the federal government preservation?
I don't know if they're in with that specific group. They do follow the federal, guidelines for restoration, and they'll follow those for any projects that happen at Auburn as well, because we'll make sure that they do.
With these people, the federal government? Why the city couldn't get in with the federal government and getting restoration done on these houses and stuff?
Well, we do apply for grants, and we did get a grant for Auburn to restore the columns and the billiard hall and the pavilion. So, of course, anytime there's money available for projects like this for the city, we do try to go after it. We just got a grant for the depot. City Hall has just been renovated through one of those grants. So we do look for those opportunities.
The reason why I'm asking these questions is like I say, I understand where you're coming from. Y'all trying to get some help done, but we have since y'all been in Natchez Historical Preservation Committee, we do have other houses like the Angeletti House, the Dumas Building, all those historical buildings that that y'all should be looking into and getting grants for. But like I said, I look at these people's there. I don't know. It could be right. I don't know if they followed 300,000. I don't know if they got to that point yet, but I have looked into it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Alderman Frazier. Alderman Dillard.
Yes, sir. My questions maybe end up being directed towards the attorney, and I'm looking under the insurance. I do see general liability, and I see workman's comp. Is there? Does the city take out the insurance on the building? Because I would think the value of it would be, I won't say irreplaceable, but I certainly think it'd be more than 500,000 for general liability.
We recently did make sure that the insurance coverage was increased to an amount upon advice provided through the Historic Natchez Foundation, and I believe it's now insured for 1.5 million.
I believe so.
And that is according to, and some of that was at your recommendation, Alderman Dillard. And we also are, and I need to follow up on it, following through, looking at, just reminds me, fire alarm, smoke alarm, heat alarms. But as far as I understand, this is just the insurance that applies to under this subcontract agreement. Being that this is a city property, it's still our responsibility to insure it. The contents belong to the city, our responsibility to ensure.
And before somebody calls
we
you
also
the question,
have to,
I want to ask a question.
and we
about
also
Article
have
7.
to insure those that are on loan. And then and a very precise inventory was completed at the end of last year. And based on that inventory, which has been provided to all members of this board, that insurance amount was adjusted also. So I believe we're in good shape insurance wise. I don't know what else to add. Alderman Dillard, back to you.
Yes, Article 7, income. Mr. Mayor, can the city be provided a balance sheet of their profit and loss statements as well as just the foundation?
It's my understanding under our arrangement that we're going to be receiving monthly reports, and our city clerk receives those deposits, has for a long time, from the Friends of Auburn. And as I reported at the last meeting, actually a transfer of over 24,000 was recently made from Friends of Auburn to the city clerk and is now being held in the Auburn account for the ongoing maintenance and upkeep of Auburn.
And Mr. Attorney, I did see prior to the meeting you had a marked up. Have you? You obviously reviewed it. Is your recommendation that we be that you provide us with those comments that you've made there, or I'm sure you're ready to vote, and that's what's coming in next. But have you any comments that you make your recommendations?
Alderman, I believe it is in a position to be approved by this board if this board so chooses. I received the contract, which essentially was the contract we entered into with the foundation. They did this contract because this is with the third party. When I looked at the third party agreement that we're just approving because it's part of our contract, I made changes that I highlighted, and I was just showing those to you. They're in the document that you have in front of you. This agreement that they're asking you to approve today is still subject to our agreement with the foundation. This does not trump our agreement with the foundation. So this is just a third-party agreement. This board is, all they're asking is look at it and go, it looks fair. Doesn't cost us any more. They're bringing in another party to help with Auburn. It describes their division, their liability. The 500,000 liabilities in there is because that's the limit that is covered by immunity. So we always ask for that amount as a minimum. But again, this is a contract between the foundation and LBI or the Berry Company.
Mr. Mayor, I
So
call
we're
the
not
question.
being asked to vote on this, then, right?
We have to approve it because our lease with the foundation says you can't enter into the other agreements without us approving it. And there was nothing wild or untoward about this that I saw.
I am getting a call for the question. Do I have a
Mr. Mayor,
second?
that's, you can't do that. You have to
Al-
allow each
Alderwoman
member to
Irving?
We
speak.
discussed, we still have.
Alderwoman
We have
Irving?
to allow each member
When
to
a
speak.
member calls the question, I have to recognize it.
That's all you do, call.
I am going to allow you to,
Thank you,
please, I'm
Mayor.
going to
Thank you.
allow you, even though we have had one and it has been seconded. So please keep your comments. We're about to vote. Alderwoman Irving?
Thank you. I'm just want to just go back and reiterate what you just stated, that all the contents in the inventory, all of the contents are not city property. They are property of
As I
Auburn as
said,
well, because it was two different inventories.
we insure those that are ours and we also insure those that are on loan to us.
Okay.
I just made those comments about 5 minutes ago in my comments.
Okay, but
Okay.
that wasn't what was stated. I think,
I
But
just
anyway,
stated it.
um,
Alderwoman, please continue.
okay, immediate update of systems, including bathroom upgrades. It said, this is the city's responsibility. I'm on, section 8, maintenance and repairs. It's including immediate update of systems, including bathroom upgrades, kitchen upgrades will be undertaken immediately at the personal expense of Kevin and Lane Berry, personally as a $50,000 contribution to LBI. So that's what they're going to do.
Yes, exactly. They're going to upgrade the kitchen and bathrooms to make the site more functional.
All right, because that was in the contract that those things did need to be upgraded.
Yes.
That's my comment.
Yes.
Thank you. There's an old saying, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. If anyone wants to look that gift horse in the mouth, please speak or forever hold your peace.
Let me speak.
The question's
Let me-
been called.
Let me look the gift horse
We
in the
will-
mouth then.
Alderman Frazier, the question's been called. Enough argument. Enough argument. This is a great thing for the city.
Let me say, ladies and
Alderman
gentlemen,
Frazier,
uh,
I know, I'm sorry,
Let
but
me say
I'm
this,
going to allow him.
I just want to ask him a question. We still had a discussion. I just wanted to ask him a question. Is it any way possible that we can, the Restoring Nation, could they come before the board and fill us in on this? You're the one that's bringing this to it, but they're the one doing the work and the maintenance and everything on the building. Can they come before the board and go into detail and let us know what's going on besides you coming before the board?
Well, before, any actual work is done on the house, it will need to be approved, by the city and archives and the foundation. So, no actual construction or anything like that will happen without your approval. So yes, when it's time to do those things, they will come to the board and we'll discuss those.
Thank you. The question has been called. Alderwoman Hall.
I'm going to make a statement before I vote.
No, it's
There is nothing nefarious about this agreement, and it's obvious that there is animosity towards Mr. Carter here today and the foundation. And I vote aye.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Frazier.
Nay animosity. Nay.
Alderwoman Smith.
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving.
Aye.
Alderman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. Mr. Burns, I want to say personally, I know you've worked so hard behind the scenes, and it seems that when you come here, there are people that just want to beat you up. I want to build you up and say thank you because you're working very hard. You're working very hard. The next item is a discussion of police personnel matter. And this is a matter that we're going to have to take up in executive session. I believe at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into a closed determination.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Any discussion?
Was this on the
We
list too,
will,
Mr. Mayor?
we will proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate
Didn't I
by
tell you
saying
how
aye.
to Sarah? How many times I tell you
All
that? I don't know
opposed?
what's on it.
All opposed, nay. I do that again. We close determination. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Keep telling
The
you how to
ayes
get it
have
back.
it. Motion carries.
That's why I gave it to you.
We will now
You just
go
gave
and
it
have
to
our At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn our closed determination and return to regular session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. We'll call for the vote. Alderwoman, well, all we need is a voice vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. It has been determined in a closed determination session that we have a personnel matter in the police department that requires discussion in an executive session, and it does meet the definitions according to state law. Therefore, I will now entertain a motion to go into executive session for that purpose.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion. We'll call for the question.
All question.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. We'll be back with a report. Thank you so Motion
Ben.
to adjourn the executive session and return to regular session.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, a motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. The question's been called. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. I will give a brief report. The report is this. We had a discussion on a personnel matter in the police department. That discussion was confidential in nature. We are not going to reveal any details of that discussion. We will say no action was taken. And that constitutes the report. We will now entertain a motion to adjourn. Alderman Davis has made it.
Call.
And seconded by Alderman Dillard. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. Have a nice evening, everyone.